And here we go, Cock of the Walk. It's like how I changed, like, oh, that was a wake-up call. Cock of the Walk, here we are.
Good morning.
Like I'm putting on a face or a front. Man, but no. Right before I hit record, I was talking to Shaun about how last night I went busking downtown Nashville on Broadway. Now all the hours are changed. The last call's at 10 o'clock. I did get down there at 8:30. I set up my guitar
and
case.
again, it was a Wednesday night.
It was a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
I didn't have crazy high expectations. I do believe I said I just want to make $5. I did make
Dream come true.
Exactly $5. So
yeah.
Goal met. But the realization, I almost wanted to record it, but then at the same time, it would have been like, oh, how sad.
Yeah.
How sad of a video this is.
Now, was it a low crowd? Just you weren't drawing anybody to you? Like,
you know, I had unreal expectations. That's the best way I could put it, because I sat there thinking people would stop like they do in San Francisco.
Okay.
They stop, they see what you're about, they like you, they tip you, they don't, they move on. Busking yesterday, no one stops.
No, everybody just keeps walking.
They're just walking right past you. You have 4 seconds, less than 10 seconds for sure, that they hear you, they hear something that you're doing, they see it, it's free obviously, they don't have to pay to walk past you on the street, and who's gonna stop, okay? I was in no costume, I had no reason to, besides the guy with the guitar. I was selling water, not a single water sold. So the population could have been anywhere from a group of young girls, a group of young boys, a couple, an older couple, a group of, a double date older couple, it could have been anything that walks right past you. A bum, a homeless man, and so I'm sitting there playing, doing my set. I'm drowned out by all the surrounding sounds.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you think the potential saturation of music was just like nobody cares at all?
No, there's so much music downtown coming out of the bars and stuff that it pretty much drowned me out. I came to the terms where I could bring that small little busker drum kit.
Because your volume's not going to be...
It wouldn't have been too much for anybody, because you can hear coming out of every window
left,
anyway.
Right in front of you.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have been no different. Location, I did walk around and seeing location now that this was 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 9:30 and stuff. I was like, where is it decently quiet? And it might not be on Broadway. You might have to take a side street just to block down where it's a little quieter, especially if I'm using power out of my car. Okay, so it was a learning experience. If I go back, which I probably will, I'm definitely going back with a drum kit of some sort, whether electric or acoustic, so that I can grab attention like that, rather than having someone hear 4 seconds of a song and go, oh yeah, I know that song. Rather than that, it could be, oh, look at, he's doing a drum solo. Maybe that's more of attention, okay? Yeah,
because from my experience anyway, is you have several people down there with a guitar and an amp.
Yes.
But I've never seen anybody with an actual, like, even, snare drum.
But
it's the bucket kids.
I've seen the bucket, so I'd have to...
you drown them out or not be in their area, where they're playing on their buckets, you play on a drum kit. And it's like, oh, that's something potentially unique.
There's girls, 2 girls I saw specifically, but there's 2 girls with acoustic bass and guitar playing in the bar with all their stuff mic'd up, and a set list and songs and structure, and then here I am, one of a bunch, and I've been playing guitar for like 6 months. So it's like, he's not even that good, but how would you know? I'm playing covers and whatever. But like, it was just a realization of like, this isn't gonna work in this exact forum, unless if I do something outside the box, dress up, costume, Mario, something, drum set, do something that goes, hey, that's new. Hey, I have to do, and even then people are going to be like, I'm going to the next bar, I don't care about you.
Yeah.
Or we're headed to dinner. It's like the realization of that. I ended up calling my dad. Yeah. Okay.
And that's what I was thinking too. Maybe, like you said, go a step off Broadway.
Yeah.
or go up to like Painter's Alley or something like that, even though there's bars there with musicians, but maybe less street, you know what I mean? Less people on the street. You can even go up to the Capitol building or whatever the heck that is.
Yeah, so now that you always have that fear that someone's going to say something. There's some police officers like, hey, where are you going to set up at? I was like, right here. And like, oh, okay, wear your mask. That's kind of how it went down.
Right,
But so then I ended up calling my dad. Long story short, I called my dad and kind of, I guess around 10:30 was just kind of complaining about how like I was getting in my car, getting ready to leave. It was just like, this
it's kind of sad
situation is getting to be very grim for me. I kind of understood more about my situation, especially the finances of the situation, and realized the whole concept of don't have a job now. When I thought about this type of life, I always thought I had a plan B. If music and stuff didn't work out, I always had that plan B. Plan B's gone because you can't apply for a job that when they're going to background check you and then deny you that job. So I had to wait that out. And it just was kind of like, oh, what a fucking bummer.
Yeah.
But then I went to bed, woke up this morning. It was like, well, I'm obviously out of bed. I'm on a walk, so I'm not paralyzed by my depression or anything like that. But what I am is depression, desperate by my depression. So
desperation.
Yeah, desperation.
Now, do you think, again, from your, like you said, fact-finding little expedition, do you think that it was the day of the week? Do you think that had anything to do with anything?
I think, again, unrealistic expectations of what I was going to achieve. And it's kind of what you said. No one gave more of a shit than I did. So I went there like, I got this set, 45 minutes, we're all rehearsed, got this, got my signs, got my water, you walked right by. What do you mean walked right by? Hey, well, here comes another, but walk right by? What do you mean walk by? You know, like, yeah, and it was like, what did you think? You think they're gonna sit there and go, oh, play 45 minutes for us as we're on the street? No, you know, and
I'm sure you attempted to cater to your crowd too, right?
For sure. I would stop playing one song when no one was there, like half the song. I'd see who's coming up, and I'd start playing another one so that as they pass by, they might have been like, oh, I know that song, you know? I really did, yeah.
And it didn't work.
Yeah. No. So how was your day at work?
Long.
Or your week?
Long. The whole week just seemed to take very, very long. I don't know how much more mowing they could do at this park.
Exactly, right?
It's like mow it one day a week.
They just mow it in sections?
Apparently.
Are these just people who like,
It's a park department.
I was gonna say, like, they actually don't even need to mow it. They're like coming down from their house and they're like, I love my mower. I love my mower.
It feels that way. No, these, I guess it's the park department.
The park department. I liked our walk on Monday where it was nice and peaceful and there were spiders in the trees. So work dragged on. Okay, so then let's talk about two things. One is a realization of work. One of the conversations where it went with my dad was, I felt like something inside me is not working for me, because maybe it's stubbornness, maybe it's a refusal to accept reality, in the aspect that work is not always fun. You're not always going to enjoy it. You might actually take a job or two that you just like drag your feet to, and to sit there and go, well, I'm not going to do anything I don't like.
Well, that was the last 25 years of my life. Dude.
Exactly, it's unrealistic, okay? So for me to go, busking is fun, I should make a living off of that. No, you don't.
No.
Okay, well, what can I make a living off of? Anything that's going to accept you at this point. Oh, okay, well, what if I don't like it? Who cares?
Too damn bad.
And that was the plumber or used car salesman or selling insurance kind of gigs where,
or fast food restaurants. You know?
Fast food restaurants. So something that accept me, so that I actually have a clock-in thing, gig, because to not have one, because I don't want to even say too good for that, or I want to say it doesn't fit me. Like, I want to work with people. Well, fast food, you're dealing with customers every day. No, but like I want to do it. No, stop it. Too stubborn, right there. You know.
Welcome to the
reality, adulthood, right?
That reminds me of like people who have a hard time finding someone to date. It's like, oh, well, there's a guy here, he's nice. Well, he's kind of ugly. Or this guy, he's nice, he wears glasses. Or this guy's nice, he doesn't have a good job.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you really want to date anybody then? Like, are you setting your standards too high? And I mentioned to you before, you maybe have to lower your standards.
You lower your standards.
And it sucks, that reality, that
and
smack in the face.
That's the smack I got yesterday, and I described it as me kicking and screaming my way into adulthood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure my dad was trying to be supportive, but in my head I was just like, it's not fair. What's not fair? I had plan B. I was gonna be a teacher if everything, music, and I can't even do that. It's like, what? Why was that taken? Why is this taken? And it was just kind of like,
that I can't get a job that I feel rewarded at.
Yeah.
Welcome to 99% of the population.
Yeah.
That's where we started this podcast. Everybody just complaining about work.
Took me a little bit of time to turn around to get the gist of that one. Now there are people who really do enjoy their job, and I think maybe that's the envy I have. That guy likes his job, he makes a lot of money. That girl likes her job, she makes a lot of money.
Look at that crafter on Etsy, she's living it up.
Look at that guy playing video games on YouTube with millions of views.
Look at Markiplier. He's a YouTuber. It's like those are 1 in a million gigs.
Those are one, and that's the thing they say, like everyone gets their 15 minutes of fame. And there's this Tosh.0 or Tosh, Daniel Tosh joke where he's like, that's an average. It's 0
for you,
0, 20 years, 0. And then I'm like, yeah, man, the statistics are wrong. You may be doing something that, and then here comes perspective. You may be doing something that if you drag your feet to and keep thinking about how bad it is, you begin to resent and hate. But you also may be able to change that and go, hey, here I have something. I have something that I didn't have before, and I should just be grateful for the thing I have now.
Well, that's self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna hate going into work tonight. You're going to work and you hate being there because you already figured out that you wouldn't, be happy. Correct.
And that happens with relationships. This relationship's not going to work out.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't work out and you're like, I knew it. When you could have actually been like, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure this relationship works out, and it's going to be hard, but I'm going to stick through it. And then what happens,
Yeah. And as we, touch on mental health, that becomes a perspective issue, It's like, am I going to wake up and say, God, today's going to suck? Or do you wake up and say, I'm going to try to make the best out of it?
Now let's go, I'm going to piggyback onto that. Me trying to make the best out of my situation in life. It seems, and I don't mean to be pessimistic, right? But I try to do these things, and I'm not necessarily trying to do them half-ass, but it seems like they need it. Like I keep missing key elements of how to do something to be successful. So if it was, and usually it boils down to marketing. So it's like, hey, I have a good idea. But you didn't market it right. Oh, I have, we have a talent for music. Yeah, but you're not marketing yourself right.
We have a podcast.
Yeah, but you're not marketing it right. And it's like, okay, so, or finances and investments. Like exactly. you're not getting the right finances in line or investments in line. And so it's like, you can't just, here's me. It seems like people do that, like a YouTuber or something, but they have editors, they have endorsements, they have investments, they have sponsors, they have...
Oh, there's a lot going on behind the scenes.
That you don't see, and I just see what's going on and go, I could do that. Yeah, yep, and it doesn't work out for me. So even if you're just like, hey, I need to get, I need to not quit, I need to do something new, doesn't mean it's going to work out, because you have to think of all the variables of the people that are doing it that are successful and what they're doing, okay? You can't just throw your rock into the pond, and be like, it's going to make big splashes. No, there might be more magic behind it than that. So that's where I'm at today.
And people with other big rocks.
Yeah, might be a magic trick that when,
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk, I know jumping on different topics here, but about this cashless system that's coming. Now, I'm not saying it's coming like in tomorrow or anything. I'm just talking in general terms about the money that was printed and how it is in the finance realm being suggested that crisis is going to be used to usher in a more digital currency. Some would say Bitcoin would be like the gold standard of that. That's why you see gold in general rising in cost. And we can talk about silver. And I know you know some stuff about silver.
Let's first of all talk about the actuality of what's going on in society as of right now, right?
Okay.
If you go to a Walmart, if you go to McDonald's or something, and your bill comes up to $19.50, right? They're like, and you hand them a $20 bill. Oh, we're having a shortage of change. Do you mind rounding that up to 20? Who gets that 50 cents?
I know, why not round down to 19, right?
Yeah, why not round down to 19? It's like, round that up because we're having a shortage of change. It's hard to give you change now. Is this the first step in going to a cashless society? Is this just a symptom of, or the symptom of a cashless society? This is the first step. This is a way to just kind of convince you that, hey, you don't really need money. You don't need that cash. It's not important.
Yeah,
I mean, the
dollar note was just a promise anyway, right? Yeah.
But again, the whole notion of that movie Office Space was about rounding up, fractions of pennies to make millions of dollars. It's like, is that what the government's doing? Is that what's really happening? It's like, oh, we're just going to absorb your, extra change
on a mass scale, though.
For the entire country.
Yeah. And I had to do that.
From each person is,
millions of pennies.
3 million, millions of pennies.
So I had to do that when I was working retail. We had our tax-free weekend, and I'm sitting there doing cash transactions, and there was change in the drawer. Like, I could give them exact change, and I tried to without asking them, but there were times when it was within the 5-cent range that I was like, okay, well, can I blah blah blah, and I didn't get anyone saying no. I will say that, no one said no. But at the same time, I was wondering, like, wow, so that means this drawer is going to be, let's say,
over or under.
Like 90 cents over, right? Like over, because I didn't have to give 90 cents back to these people. Well, who's getting that 90 cents? And that's this one drawer, and then that's this person's drawer. Let's say
in one retail establishment, and
so
one
every
drawer.
But the retail company was saving or hoarding on to or holding on to, let's say, $2 worth of change that they didn't give back. Well, they're open, how many days are open, and where does that change go?
And that adds up quickly.
And that's one store.
And you're saying one store and one environment,
Yeah.
I think the idea of going cashless is absolutely class warfare.
That's what as a person who's, I like to say I'm middle class, but middle working class, although I'm not working and I'm not middle class, I'm lower non-working class right now.
Yeah, you're sliding into poverty.
So I'm slipping into poverty, right? So, but I'm trying to get out of that by becoming working middle class. And as a person who knows what that looks like and feels like, I do not want to go cashless.
No,
I want my cash.
Imagine you're relying on tips.
Yeah.
And the way things work now is your wage, if you're a tipped person, is reduced. I don't know what the standard is anymore.
What if you have to be tipped on credit?
Yeah.
And I know that's a thing, because usually I do leave tips in cash because I want it not to be deducted from their check. They can say they did or didn't get a tip. And if that's criminal, like, hey, felony is charged with that, trust me, the bankers.
But even think about your postman, right? For Christmas, you give them, a $20 bill, thanks. You're not allowed to do that anymore. And again, not that I'm saying, here's my major argument with the class warfare system. If you're homeless, you don't have an address. If you don't have an address, you can't get a bank account. If you don't have a bank account, you have no value.
Human life has no value, essentially, right?
If you're homeless, you're not important. So if I go, hey, homeless guy, here's $10, go get a sandwich. I feel bad for you, go buy something to eat, here's money. And they go into McDonald's, oh, we don't accept cash anymore. You just created class warfare.
Yeah.
Warfare, not just, oh, it's a cashless society.
No, because that guy still has to eat. And how long is he going to go with hey, I have $100 in my pocket. Too bad.
That doesn't do anything for you.
Go put it in your bank account and use your card to actually spend it.
Rent a hotel or rent a
Now you have to
apartment.
fix that as the government by giving people those EBT cards that are loadable or something, and then they go up. We know how much you have now, and that's what it's all about. And we need to know how much you have.
And we go to class warfare, and we go to mental health, right? A lot of the homeless population is suffering mental health issues.
Correct.
Right. So you're just going to criminalize people for not having a home.
Yes. That's what it will result in.
It turns, like I said, immediate class warfare.
And that's what this crisis is going to become. It's going to become, and that's what it's been denoted as. This is one of the biggest shifts of wealth in our history. Okay, the shift of wealth was creating all this money, so that, and it's not like only people on unemployment got this money.
Yeah.
There were companies that got a lot of money
and bailouts
and bailouts, and still went, we're gonna store that over there, and we're still going belly up. And you're like, wait, did you not get the loan? Wasn't enough. And you're like,
where'd the money go there?
It went to somebody. It's gonna get paid out at some point in time. Maybe it went into an investment. We'll never know.
Offshore account.
And I don't know that where it went, because I'm just speaking of general terms of what could have happened, And there were a few companies, I think it was like Ruth's Chris.
Okay, yeah.
That got caught taking a bunch of money they didn't need, and other companies that were like, oh, we should give that back. Well, we're just trying to make sure we're stable for the future. You're taking money from people who need it. Well, it was allotted to us. It's not like, we applied like it was supposed to and we got the money. So,
and again, we're no financial experts here, and and I don't follow a market and whatever and whatnot, but it's just, it seems like it's a ludicrous idea.
But it is happening. It would be foolish to say, oh, that's not actually going to happen. No, we're headed towards this concept of just using your card for everything, even tip. Everything is why use that dirty cash? It might have coronavirus on it, right?
Yeah, well, I'm not giving out my home address, but I literally have, not under my mattress, but I have cash under my mattress, right? Yeah. And it's there for expenses, for unexpected emergencies, and it's also part of my children's bank account,
you touched on this, yeah.
Part of my children's college fund. It's in cash.
It's going to be, so what are you going to do when they go, you have 90 days, you're going to actually have to throw that back in, and then all of a sudden your bank account increases, I'm going to give it a random number, say it increases $6,000, okay?
Yeah,
even if that's not, you're like, so all of a sudden,
is that become an auditable thing now?
That's the thing.
Where'd you get
might
that from?
Actually, because they're they're anticipating that, but deposits and withdrawals of $10,000 at one time do get flagged. Those get flagged as, even if it's not, even if you don't mean it to be, suspicious transactions.
Of course.
So banks, as soon as they see $10,000, they go, suspicious. Might do it to $6,000 just because it's two $6,000 transactions.
But again, if this is going to be enforced by the government, maybe they'll just turn their head completely for.
Well, they're going to want to know where you got that money. Why haven't you been claiming it?
Or why haven't you spent it? Or you need to pay taxes on all of this money that you're dumping into a bank.
You like last year, you said your bank account had this much, and now it's gone up. Say you said like last year I had 1,000, and then this year you have 10,000. Well, how did it go up thousands of
where did you come up with $10,000? You know what, you owe 70% on those on taxes, which you've already freaking paid for anyway.
Correct.
But we're going to tax you again. The system sucks.
So that's where even you who isn't in my position, you're getting pushed down into poverty a little more.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? We all are. So I'll slide a little deeper, you'll slide a little deeper, and
I mentioned it previously, right? Say something goes wrong, say if you lose your job, oh, well, those are assets that you can draw upon.
Yes.
But
no mercy.
But that's not what it was intended for. Well, too bad. It's money. You have that money.
And how far does that go? Do they start taking your cars?
Yeah.
Since you have multiple cars.
Repo and what I mean?
Yeah. The repo, the dark repo. So that's a dark area of what's going on currently that does need to be addressed, because people who are aware of this, a lot of Americans that are afraid of this cashless system, that's going to weigh on their mental health. it's also, to me, American philosophy, even though it is a global thing that's happening, like it does happen around the globe. As Americans, we have had it a little rough, okay?
Yeah.
We know that there's a giant income inequality. We know that the people at the top are making crazy amounts of money compared to the people who are working every day, chasing that paycheck. They only make what they get clocked into to be paid. And this isn't going to help them.
No.
This isn't a benefit to them, but it's going to happen anyway, regardless. And it's going to make a lot of people go, oh my gosh, my dollar. It's about purchasing power. Well, my dollar's not going to go as far as it should now that all the dollars are in circulation because they're all on
Well,
the
what about
computer.
the proposed tax break?
The payroll tax that's coming?
Yeah, no, the Trump put in a thing where it's like, oh, we'll give people tax breaks on payroll income or whatever, but you'll have to pay it up later. And it's like, how's that giving me any advantage?
I don't know.
And what about the people that aren't earning a paycheck, that don't get tax? How's that benefiting them?
I don't know.
It just
it's troublesome.
It's logic from an elite person who doesn't understand what it's like to scrape.
That's what it is. Yeah,
It has to be.
Like us bottom of the barrel.
Feeders,
I was gonna say bottom feeders, bottom of the barrel. People that are down and out. People that are like, whoa, this can't go any worse. Or my entire like mindset's collapsing into this poverty level. Too bad.
Yeah.
Survival of the fittest.
Hey, we got to protect the ones that make the money. Yeah.
Now tell a story.
I don't have any good stories today. No.
What I was talking about making little tids of money and scrape.
Yeah.
Do you ever want to tell the scraping of the pelts?
Oh, yeah. Again, we kind of went back into after we had our discussion about the fox. I guess I could share that.
Okay.
My dad also processed deer hides. And what that means is if, we were in a very hunter heavily,
Community?
Area, and it was part of, culture. You go out and kill a deer. A lot of people, kill the deer for meat. Poverty, right? You go back into this, right? I had an uncle who had 5 children and went out and killed 5 deer and filled up his freezer for the, year. They had venison almost weekly, just because it was available.
Yeah.
So
it's like in Alaska, how you don't need a license to fish. You fish for substance. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. So, but I mean, you pay for a deer license, whatever. Anyway, so we processed deer hides. So whenever someone, killed a deer, they have to skin the deer, and it's either throw it away or bring it to our house, and we'll purchase that from you.
Okay.
Now, back in this was, say 90s, maybe even 80s. It's 10 years old. Haggling with the guy about how much I'm going to give him for a deer hide. My dad's like, yeah, somebody knocks at the door, go down and give him $3 for that hide, And somebody knock on the door and say, no, I want 5.
And you're 10 years old, you're like, I'll give you 3.
Yeah. I'm like, Dad said to give you 3, right?
Dad
so
said to give you
haggling
3.
with these. Anyway, so you kill a deer, you skin it, and they bring it, to where we would purchase it. You're like, what the hell would you buy an animal skin for?
Yeah, what are you buying
What
them
are
for?
we doing this for, right? Well, this was one of my father's side hustles.
Okay.
And they would bring the hides, and they'd usually have the head attached, and they'd have the limbs attached.
So it's kind of gross.
Oh, it's nasty. I
The
mean,
maggots on it and stuff?
bloody, fatty skin of an animal.
That's why they're giving it to you for dirt cheap, because they're like, you do what you want with this trash.
It's either trash or
It's garbage.
I can make $5 from it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I bring it in a trash bag and you pull it out with bloody hands, I'm watching my cartoons, eating my cereal. Now I gotta go wash my hands. Yeah. So anyway, we cut off, every day in the wintertime, deer season, you had to do deer hides. It was what you had to do. It wasn't an option.
10 years old.
Yeah. Go out here and help me process these deer hides. So
What's it mean to process a deer hide?
So you go out with a knife and you cut off the head. You try to preserve as much of the hide as you can. You cut off the legs, try to preserve as much of the hide as you can. Scrape off the fat with a knife, throw it in a bucket. So now I got a big bucket of deer fat, right? And bloody ass hide. You throw it down on a pallet, take a cup of rock salt and rub it into the hide. Rub it into the skin.
What does that do?
It preserves it.
Okay.
Just like, salting salmon or something,
Yeah.
right? It preserves this hide at least long enough, and hopefully it stayed cold enough all winter, because if you had a warm winter, this thing started to rot and smell. Now this is in my driveway at my home that I grew up in my garage where we had, or chest freezer. You go in to get ice cream. It's in the garage that we're processing these hides. We're preparing them. And at the end of the season, we'd have a tannery, and they would come and they'd purchase the hides based upon their condition of the hide. So
what did you make off of it then? How much?
My dad in the season on a great season, could make about $5,000.
Okay.
And that was huge back then.
Yeah, that's a good profit. Buy it for
and again, a hustle, right?
Uh-huh.
So he'd say maybe buy it for $3, sell it for $7 to $10, depending on the market, right? And again, the bottom fell out of that whenever, you could still buy a deerskin coat and it's not considered murder.
Now, I would say two things. One, I respect the fact that you as a 10-year-old to 15-year-old, whatever, was helping your dad's side hustle get to whatever profit it made, right?
Oh, yeah.
But also, as, I guess, a 90s California child, that just seems like
child labor?
Child labor or a missing of some kind of, like, childhood. You could have been playing video games, I don't know, like playing outside, laser tag, or riding your
snowball
bike.
Fights. Or,
but I mean, again, you guys, was this a, I don't know how to say this, was this like a means to an end, like you had to kind of do this to keep above the poverty line?
Well, if you look, it's family business. That's kind of how I consider it looking back, right?
Okay.
So it's a business my dad did, the family was involved because you had to be.
You had to be.
And that was, his, like I said before, his passion, something he enjoyed doing. But it was a side hustle. It was, I can do this and make money off of it. And it's what he knew, right? So anyway, we're sitting there all deer season long. You're out there freezing your butt off. You're out there covered in deer blood. Ticks were a thing back then. You just never thought of, disease or anything. So you're getting tick bites, just all kinds of nasty. I mean, think about it. Deer blood, right?
No, I'm thinking about it. It sounds gruesome to it sounds gory, and it sounds like something I don't want to touch. Like, I don't know if I'm just a wimp, but like it sounds like ew.
Well, see,
you had to do what? Ew.
It's actually kind of funny because I applied for a job at a crime lab, right? And it was they were talking about how you'd actually have to go to a crime scene, and they're like, "Do you think you'd be okay with that?" And I used the deer hide story as like fodder for it. I'm like, I was covered in deer blood most of my youth. Like, it shouldn't be a problem. I mean, I've never seen a dead body or someone slaughtered before, but you know what I'm saying. So
someone who's blasted like throat slit real person, though,
Exactly.
Oh,
but my whole joke was, not joke, but my story was, I'm used to kind of gore.
To gore, yeah, that's what it sounded like, gore.
Yeah.
How do you think that has affected you in two ways? One is your work ethic. Hi, good morning. Your work ethic and your ability to, I guess, keep your head down and do the job.
Just do what you got to do.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
To get through it.
In contrast to me, because I didn't have that. I mean, straight out, like, I almost feel like I need to give my parents a call and go, thanks for not making me slaughter deer or clean their hides.
Yeah.
I had
our reward. Yeah. And I think our reward was, again, we had a drawer full of dollar bills, right? So if somebody came up to the house with a hide, you went up, grabbed some dollar bills, and dished them out. You bought the hide. Cash money. Well, my brother took it upon himself that was free cash whenever he needed it.
Skim the top.
Which was garbage.
Yeah.
And, I'm out there working. He worked too, but I'm out there working on these hides. At the end of the season, Dad would give you a stack of $100 bill or $1 bills. $100. Here you go. All your hard work was $100. When you're a kid, you're 10, 11 years old, that's gold.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes even, if I had friends come over, hey, help out outside. My friends didn't want to do it.
Yeah, but you're over the house. This is what we do at my house. Don't come over.
Yeah, we either are gonna, do the hides or go out and feed the fox, or, it was all part of, what we did. At the end of the deer season, my dad would throw them $50. Here, thanks for helping out.
So he's making some money so he can actually feed his child labor.
Yeah, exactly. It was legitimate child labor. You helped out all season. Here you go. It's $50. Some kids that worked a day or two, you give them $5 that day.
Yeah.
Thanks for helping out.
Thanks for helping out.
Or I'll take you to the arcade on Saturday.
he did run a nice little hustle.
Yeah, he ran a good hustle.
Is he a good man? Your father?
He was.
Is he hardened by the
He was a lot like me. He was pretty angry.
He's pretty, okay.
Yeah, the system wore him down.
Wore him down.
He worked for many a year and worked the night shift, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw what that did to him, and
now you're in that cycle. So
Yeah.
what I hear from this story, and it's not pleasant for me, is you're a man who's used to delayed gratification, or at least you've done stuff where you didn't get the reward right away. You got the $100 later on.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a person going into my adulthood who was more prone to that dopamine hit. And
you probably would have taken a couple dollars out of the till if you wanted to buy.
To be honest, probably.
Yeah.
Like I would want, like after I worked that day, I would want to have been paid if it was to get candy or something, you know.
Yeah.
I can't say that's for sure, but knowing who I am and how I operate, I think I would have been like, I'd rather have $10 every day for 10 days than $100 after 15 days or so, you know, so whatever it is. I know that's bad math. It'd be 10, but still. So
well, again,
now look at us as adults.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm sitting here going, how come everything doesn't pay off? And you're like, that's life, dude. Go get this done. Such a shock.
Yeah. Well, again, I'll jump into another quick story. When I was 11 years old, I took on a paper route.
11 years old.
Yeah, it was a half hour every morning before school, right? I had to obviously shower when I was done, whatever. But if it snows up to your waist, you gotta deliver the damn newspapers. Saturdays, you had to get up and deliver a damn newspaper on your day off, right? You had Sundays off. That was newspaper day off. I made $2 a day.
What?
$60 a month. And that was money for me. And like, I can make $60 a month for delivering newspapers. What a deal.
You were like, at that time being like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm making this money.
And you know what I did?
What?
I did that for 6 years of my life.
Man.
Until I was almost 17 years old.
You know,
to make $60
and
a
you're
month.
not, I mean, not like saying this like in a bad way, but you're not a rich man.
No, not by any means.
with dollars, right? You're rich in love and family. You're rich there.
I sure hope so.
As far as it comes to like you can retire anytime soon, you're not on your way to.
We've joked. I'm working till I die.
You're working till you die, and hopefully
not even a joke.
It's not like I think the joke was you'll die hopefully in at work, right? Maybe you make some more. Now, I'm struggling right now as you told me these stories, and I want to get this out there, but I want, because this is so unfiltered, I don't want to say it wrong for me, but I'm a pussy. I am sitting in my life, and it's not that I haven't tried to get jobs, but I am a giant pussy because I hear what you have done, and I go, I wouldn't have ever done that. It's not as if you're under me. You're not at whatsoever. I'm just a wimp. I can't believe like as I walk through this right now, like I walk through a spider web, but like I'm getting this realization all over my body of you don't have what it takes. That's why you're not successful right now. And me, I'm talking that to myself. Like I don't have what you have. At 10 years old, I would, if my dad told me to pull weeds, I'd mope. I'd pull a few, and I'd waste 8 hours out there until he told me, until he spanked me, and I got to go in. When I was told, I remember one quick story. We're eating fajitas, and whatever my taste buds were at that time, I didn't like cooked onions and peppers. Gotcha. So I sat there crying in my food, in my food. Just letting the tears, so I would hopefully not have to, like, what do I have to do to get out of this task? And this task is eating my goddamn dinner. Like, what do I have to do? You go to bed hungry. I'll go to bed hungry. Okay, go to bed hungry. I went to bed hungry. And I'm like, And so I feel like that's the difference. You didn't allow yourself to go to bed hungry, and because you worked at 11 on a paper route, you didn't want to, but you didn't let it go to waste. You didn't let that perfectly good food go to waste just because you didn't like cooked onions and peppers, you know, like, and I'm like, wow, man, like I have a lot of respect for you. I also am getting a realization for me going, That's why you're here, Brendan.
Yeah.
That's why you're sitting here moping around trying to figure out what it is that's gone wrong with you. It's not this year.
Yeah.
It's
Well, again,
this way you were,
Let me jump in, and I'm not trying
Yeah.
to be judgy, and I think I've kind of tiptoed around this issue, and I'm going to lay it flat on the table
Do
for
it.
you. I've given you this idea of go out and make $8 an hour or make $0.
Yeah.
That's your options, right? At least right now. And you're like, I'd rather make $0. $8 is an insult. Dude, $8 is what you're going to get. Go get it.
Yeah, true.
Sorry, smack. Adulthood. That's what you have to put yourself down
Now
to.
I am on that track.
I'm too better than $8.
Yeah.
Too goddamn bad.
Yeah, definitely. No,
Too
I agree.
goddamn bad.
I agree with you at this, especially on this particular walk. It's not. I'm not too good for $8. I mean, $5 in 2 hours.
You're better than that.
Yeah. Well, I can, like you just said, I can do better than that. You can make $8 in 1 hour.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? And that's maybe where I'm headed is, I wanted that 20, but you didn't get that 20. No. So it was too good for you. So now what isn't? And it's like, I guess the $8.
Yeah.
And I am on that route. I'm on I have applied for a few jobs that aren't necessarily glamorous. And I think that's what it's going to take, man. It's going to take humility, me being humble. It's going to take me going from where I was to
Let's
the
get
bottom.
vulgar. It's going to take you sucking some balls
Yeah.
so you don't have to take the shaft all the time,
Yeah.
right?
And you know what?
Yeah.
No, that's so true, man. Like not that in a little sense, like literally, but unless if that pays more. No, but like, I think that's what it is, man. I feel like a part of me feels like because my unit in 2019 was structured in a way where I was outside of the poverty line as a unit, and now that unit's dissolved, I'm so far under it, or I'm sliding under it, that it's like, this isn't fair, don't let this happen.
I'm going to call you out. You were naive. You were completely naive to quote unquote the real world.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, I'm sitting in a good position. Everything's great.
Everything must be great. No, because by yourself, you're so far under that. And that's an argument for why maybe I was taking it for granted. I always go back to how was raising my kids taking my life for granted. But yeah, I also then go, but it wasn't, you weren't just supposed to be raising your kids, I suppose, you wanted that $10 Starbucks, you went and you got it. Yeah.
You wanted a massage, you went and you got one.
I did.
Right? And it's like, where was that money coming from? Oh, it's there.
It was just there.
Yeah.
It was allotted to me, or not.
This is my payment for being a dad.
Yeah.
Did you think of it that way, maybe?
Probably, yeah. Or this is my payment for the time, like you said, time for money.
Yeah.
Well, what did I do all day where I wasn't clocked in, but there was poop on my fingers. I had to clean that off. I had to make a sandwich. I did it all. And it's like, sadly, that is now being replaced by someone doing it for $13 an hour. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. And they're like, so what was I thinking where all these tasks I were doing because they were my kids somehow made it like it was a $70 an hour
job. You were entitled.
Oh man. Yeah. How embarrassing. Like, no joke, dude. And like
I said, I think I can talk to you because, like I said, I consider us really good friends, and I can just lay it down like it is.
Do you realize I'm embarrassed right now?
No.
Like this is gonna go on the internet, and people are gonna be like, oh, he's just putting it on like how it was started. Like, hey, welcome to Cock of the Walk. Yeah. But during this walk, I'm embarrassed that the reason that I'm in my position isn't because of any factors that I probably couldn't have controlled had I have been more aware of my circumstances, and my circumstances being chronic development of bad habits.
I mean, again, it was you were a dependent. You were interdependent, like you depended on someone else.
What a bad decision.
It's not necessarily a bad decision.
Now, can I ask you this?
Was there a compromise? It didn't seem like there was a compromise.
Yeah, there got to be a more understanding. Now, and I say this, and I talk about it as much as you want, but is your wife in this position? If you want, I mean, I know she does work.
Working. Yeah,
but I mean, you guys have had a long marriage. There would definitely be an alimony aspect to this that there isn't to mine.
Yeah.
But if you were like, I'm done. Would
Again-
she be effed in the A?
Well, again, this is going into a brief story, but basically she worked while I went to college. You know, it was a tit for tat. It's like, I'll support you now so you can support me later. And then when we had children, it was, do you go to work and make enough to pay for daycare, and that's it, and then you don't raise your children? So that became a trade-off when we were, when our kids were little. It was like, I'd rather you just stay home than earn.
That was the point where we were in our.
It was either go
connection.
earn $8 an hour and then give that to somebody to raise your kids,
Correct.
or stay home and you're raising your own children.
And that's such a perk. And I think that's the perk I took for granted. I went, oh my gosh, like what better job than fatherhood? That's a job that I get in my life. Well, you got to do it right.
Sign me up.
Yeah, and it's not just fatherhood; it's homemaker.
Yeah.
And again, like the cooking alone, the difference. If your wife and I were compared and contrast the culinary skills alone, I would have hired, even if it was, I would have hired your wife. I've been like, well, they're both gonna take care of the kids. They're not gonna let them suffer. But this one,
feed them good.
Yeah, this one's actually gonna cook a meal per day on recipes that she's created from scratch, or that And him, what's he heating up in the microwave?
So again, it was this collaboration. It was agreed upon. You'll support me so I can support you. And there have been days of resentment on my end. It's like, I have to drag my ass to work every day.
Yeah.
And you get to sit here at home.
You got the longer period of hard labor, would you say?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But she's worked, she works now. She's working, at a school to, be off on the hours that my kids were off. And then COVID happens.
Gosh.
My kids are at home and she's at school. She's at work, where she would normally be with my son at his school. It's like, what a messed up world.
Yeah, well, this year has been messed up. This year is taking it to my dome, because if
this year hasn't messed up anybody's head, call me and tell me everything's completely cool.
Yeah, if your business, because you're the CEO of Zoom.
Apple stock is $3 trillion.
Jesus,
good for Apple.
You
right?
started Bitcoin or blockchain. This walk, I mean, if it was boring to some people, that's kind of the thing that I did these walks for, because they were really helping me get out of a dark time in my life, and to have, I guess, to go from like, here, I'm here to support you, but at some point you really need to realize that you have to support yourself, whether it's with $8 an hour job and you work your way up, or not, because you can't have a parasitic lifestyle.
Something has to be sustainable.
Yeah, man, and that's rough, because.
And I'm not. A little bit of tough love. At least you paid your rent.
At least I paid my rent.
I'm not kicking you out.
Yeah, there you go. No, that's true though. Like, and how did I do that? I sold my belongings, but you can't. That my belongings won't be. Like, I don't have
Can't sustain you.
Yeah. That's the what I'm hoping is selling my belongings, as in my skill set, my word of mouth. People sell their art, like that kind of stuff. If that can provide for me, I mean, I hope the world provides. I really do hope, because right now I'm realizing that these podcasts, they could, if I don't find a way to make sure that they're in my life around my day job, my legitimate job that I go to work for, then they're gonna stop too. It all just stops. It's all temporary if you don't have a good foundation. And
I think it's a good foundation. I mean, like I said, I want to come home and go to bed sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, just get up and do it.
Just get up and do it.
Get up and it swings all back to perception, right? Is today going to be a good day? Well, I'm going to try to make it one.
I'm going kayaking.
Boom, we're going
with my best friend.
Right after this, we're going to continue on the exercise. Now, mind you, okay, I got up at 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
It's 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm still going.
You're pulling all-nighters, and you wonder why you're tired, dude. You're like, if you were drinking, imagine this would be like. Imagine if the whole time.
Well, this wouldn't be a walk. This would be a stumble.
Yeah, you'd be like, hey, I woke up at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
I had a shot. On the hour, every hour. It's 8, 9 o'clock. I've been just pulling on. This isn't Vegas, man. This is Hendersonville, Tennessee. This is Hendersonville.
But this is also how I operate. So welcome to
Party Animal. Okay,
Mind of a Madman.
All right, that's Cock of the Walk today. Do your sign off.
Great. All right. Yeah. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. All right.
Thank you for listening.
All right. Bye bye.
Hey, this is Brendan from Cock of the Walk Podcast. If you like what you heard, you can support us just by sharing the link. That's the most important thing, is to get the word out. If you want to go beyond that, you can do donations, you can become a member and subscribe, or you can even buy some merch. You can find us at www.halfmoonday.com. We are a Half Moon Day LLC production. You can also reach us directly with comments, questions, or topics you want us to discuss at CockoftheWalkPodcast@gmail.com or CockoftheWalkPodcast@AOL.com. We also have a Facebook, and you can find us on YouTube under the Half Moon Day page. On behalf of myself and Shaun, thank you very much for tuning in. We know there's a lot of podcasts out there, and we appreciate your time. Have a good day.